In this screencast, you'll see how to use Citation Machine to create a Works Cited list. I'm going to show you how I created this citation using Citation Machine. So I have a couple things open. The first thing I want to have open is my letter to the next president because that's where I'm going to put my my citation. I'm going to create a Works Cited list below my signature. Works Cited should be centered. After I center Works Cited, I'm going to put a space and I'm going to use the left align to make sure that my Works Cited is left aligned and not centered. It should not look like this. Instead, it should look like this. Okay, so how did I create this citation? That's what I'm going to show you right now. I am writing about education, and I read that Franklin Roosevelt said that education was a human right. I Googled Franklin Roosevelt New Bill of Rights because he gave a speech where he talked about the idea of a second Bill of Rights. Now, this didn't become law, but this is the idea that I wanted to talk about. And here's the Franklin Roosevelt Library, the presidential library, where all of his papers are housed at Marist University, I believe in New York State. And so as I was reading through this, I found that this was the speech where he said that education should be a human right. So I want to cite this page right here. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to go back to haiku class. And in haiku class, I'm going to click on letters to the next president. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom here. I'm going to find Citation Machine. EasyBib will work as well. I find that EasyBib works better for history, and Citation Machine works better for English. So that's what I'm going to show you. But you could use EasyBib just as well. We're going to be using MLA format. So you're going to click on MLA, and you're going to click website because this is a website. And I'm going to paste my URL, my web address. Okay, now I'm going to click search website. That's it, that's the one I want, so I'm going to click select. Now Citation Machine finds information for us, but it's not always correct. So we want to double check everything, and sometimes it can't find everything. We're going to click to final step. All right, so the article title here is, let's go back, 1944 State of the Union Address, FDR's Second Bill of Rights or Economic Bill of Rights speech. The article title is not Franklin D. Roosevelt. If you look right here, it says Franklin D. Roosevelt Presidential Library and Museum. That's the website. So I'm going to copy the article title. If you're not sure what the article title is, just check with me during class and we'll look at it together. Then the author of this speech that I'm citing is Franklin Roosevelt. So I'm going to put Franklin Roosevelt. Oh, sorry, it should be Franklin D. Roosevelt. Okay. In most cases, the author will be at the top. If you're not sure who the author is, check with me and I'll help you out. Now, this is the website title, Franklin D. Roosevelt Presidential Library and Museum. And then if we scroll to the bottom, that's usually where you would find the publisher or the sponsor, and it's the same. It's also Franklin D. Roosevelt Presidential Library and Museum. Now, we're going to look for the publishing date. It's not going to be 1944, right, because there was no internet in 1944. Let's see here, and unfortunately, there's no publication date. Now, I would be worried if this were a different kind of source, but since it's a source that gives us a speech from 1944, and that speech isn't going to change over time, and it's a reliable source because it's Roosevelt Library, where scholars have archived all of his work and preserved it and organized it. I'm okay with that. I'm going to leave this blank. The date accessed is important because if this website changes in a month or in a year, and somebody reads my work, they'll know that I wasn't making things up. They'll know that the website simply changed. Books don't change. You have one book. If you cite the book correctly, that book will never change. But websites change all the time. Okay, now I'm going to do create citation. And this is my citation. And I think there we go. Now, I pasted it right here. I want to get rid of the highlight. See how it's got that highlight right here? I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to go here to text color. I'm going to click highlight, and I'm going to click none. Now, when I find another source, I'm going to make sure that I cite my sources alphabetically. So if my next source starts with the letter B, I'm going to put that before Roosevelt. If my next source starts with the letter S, I'm going to put that after Roosevelt. But that's basically how you create your Works Cited page. Now, when I cite a source, I have to also include what's called a parenthetical citation. Typically, that's going to be the name of the author. This is Roosevelt. And what I'm going to do here is, I already cited Franklin Roosevelt, I actually don't need to put the parenthetical citation. I probably should add to this in his 1944 State of the Union address. Because now, if you look at this, just take a moment and read what I've written here. Franklin Roosevelt, perhaps the greatest Democratic president in our nation's history, argued in his 1944 State of the Union address that education was a human right. When I go back down here, it's going to be obvious that this is the source, right? I've spelled it out, Roosevelt, 1944 State of the Union address. Now let's suppose that I changed the wording. Let's just suppose that I said, presidents have argued, or a former president, a famous president has argued. Now, I wouldn't do this because I don't think this is as good a sentence as saying Franklin Roosevelt. But let's just say I did that. Then I would need to cite, because I haven't named Roosevelt in the sentence. So make sure that after you put your works cited list, you go back and you make sure that you cite your source and use the last name of the author. If there's no author, then you'll just take the first words of the citation. If you have any questions about how this works, let me know during class, and I will be glad to help you out.